Me. So I was the last national programme coach who had to go through the open recruitment process.
Yeah.
So like Jason now and Wayne with the students and whoever becomes the women's head coach, they'll be able to appoint their own staff.
Yeah.
So they can just go out and be like, I want you, I want you.
Mm.
And I agree with that because
Yeah.
you need to trust them, and you know there's a whole load of things going with that.
100%.
I had to open it out to applications.
Welcome back to another episode of the X's and O's podcast. It's your boy Mr. Selenke in the building. I'm joined by the Bronze Bomber, the now Mr. Reliable, Danny Tinker.
Thank you.
And we've got a very special guest in the building with us, the head coach of the GB Under-19s and Under-17s program, Mr. Neale.
What's up, boys?
You good?
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much.
Excited about this.
Love that. Thank you very much for coming down. And before we get into things, could you please let us know a little bit more about who you are and more specifically how you got into the sport and your position now?
So my name's Neale McMaster. Most people know me as Nelly.
Yes.
I played with Clyde Valley Hawks, a
wow.
junior player back in the day. Played one season, turned 18, moved up to East Kilbride Pirates.
Okay.
Much love to the Pirates.
Yeah, big up the Pirates.
I love them, still do. Yeah, played with them for 10 seasons, I think.
Wow.
Played with Glasgow Uni for a couple as well. Then moved down to Bedford for work. And
Okay.
stayed down here. So I played 1 year at Blue Raiders. And then there was the whole we'll take over Blue Raiders, become Ouse Valley Eagles and do all that stuff. So we merged that
Okay.
and started coaching then. And then through some luck, charm, not ability, I've managed to find my way into GB head coach's role.
Cool. Was that something you always wanted to do, or was it a case of just going up the ladders and then being in the right place at the right time? Or
Definitely always like I went to a couple of camps as a player.
Yeah.
When Coach Rick and Stephen McCusker and that were there, and loved it. Just loved the experience and what those guys were like putting out and how different it was to club practices.
Yeah.
But I started coaching at the under-17s at EKP.
Yeah.
And just found that it's so like you get way more out of that. So I always wanted to do it with the junior program when it came back.
Yeah.
So done a whole lot of work at Ouse Valley, spent some time in the States to kind of like CPD almost, like because I didn't feel like I could give anything back.
Yeah.
So I went and learned as much as I could, and then the opportunity came about, and with the last group under Jason Henry, and then what went on there, and then got made interim head coach, and then full-time head coach last summer.
Love that. And I guess it's a little bit difficult to say now, but what were your plans for this year, or what are your plans for next year, if you can share for the program? Because I don't think a lot of people know much about the under-19s team. Are they successful? Have they been successful?
They have been in the past.
Yeah.
Like I don't know the exact dates, but I know when Steve Rains coached, they won a whole lot of games.
Okay.
Like early 2010s, I think.
Yeah.
They won a ton then. Recently we haven't been.
Yeah.
But it's certainly something we're working on. So the plan for this year has now just been bumped back a year, basically.
Okay.
So we don't know when we'll come back. We'll, for the purposes of this, we'll assume January, but it definitely won't be January.
Yeah.
January, February, we'll get back into practicing again. So the under-17s and the under-19s teams, completely separate teams, different coaching staffs, but same playbook. Get them back in, then we'll have some sort of trial. Just for any players that we've not picked up. There's a whole new raft under-17s and under-19s players coming in, so we want to keep the squad fresh all the time. Then we had a game scheduled to play against Belgium away. So like we go to them next year, and then they'll come to us in 2022. Yeah. And then we're trying to get another game set up. So there's loads of teams want to play us. The French Pole Revolution want to play us. The Pride have spoke about trying to play us as well, and it's just trying to figure out how all that stuff will work, because obviously a ton of our players play on the Pride, and we want them, they want them, so there's logistical issues, but it would be a better thing to do, I think, for the squad. But so that's a plan. And then there's IFAF qualifiers coming up, what should have been about now. So I'm going to guess they'll be about the same time next year, but we don't know for definite yet.
Cool. Is that a qualifier for the main tournament?
Yeah, that's for the Euros.
Okay. And assuming the Euros are going to be 2023 perhaps then, or
They were meant to be 2021.
Oh, wow.
So they might just bump them back a year to 2022. But they're every 2 years.
Yeah.
So you don't miss a ton.
Okay.
But we haven't made it in a while.
Oh.
we were close last time. Close-ish when we played Norway. You know, we were up at half time and then we lost it in the second half. But that was the closest we've came in a while.
Yeah. What would you say is missing then? Because we've got the NFL Academy, we've got Filton Academy, we've got some serious ballers as young as 16, 17 that are sort of telling us now that they want to go to the States, they want to go to college. Is it tough trying to pick up those guys and getting them into GB, or?
I think if we can get them younger, the better.
Okay.
So if we can get them before they go to Pride and before they go to Academy, I think it's a bit easier to keep them in the GB system. Yeah. Like if we pick them up when they're already at the Pride or they're already at the Academy, then they guys are on a slightly different path to normal GB player. Yeah. Those guys are like NCAA or bust pretty much. I would say that's maybe an overstatement, but their goal is certainly NCAA. So I think over the next 5 years, our goal should be to scout and recruit under 17s way more than we do. Okay. And we want to pick up under 17s players and then have them graduate through. That's, for me, that's got to be the goal. In terms of what we're missing, like, if you look at our athletes, so wide receivers, DBs, top end linebackers, top end running backs, we can compete with the rest of Europe. We can compete with the NCAA teams. I agree. When you get into your linemen, O linemen and D linemen, it's not even a drop off; it's a cliff. Wow. So you get like one or two who are exceptional. It's like the Ouse Valley kids who came from Bedford. He's at the academy now. Freddie Pelling just got his first Div 1 scholarship. Offer from Akron. Boy, Rich Wurzel, if you're watching.
He's a pancake. You know, I was watching highlight tapes of him yesterday.
Dude,
he's 6'8", 310 pounds.
Something like that.
It's just ridiculous. And
how old is he?
He's like
17 now, I think. He'll be on 16, 17 border. Yeah, like
that is ridiculous.
But he's so different to the rest of the linemen because he understands like his role isn't to block the guy, his role is to move him. And he like just fires out and destroys people. And
he's a tackle.
Yeah,
he's not even a guard.
He's playing right tackle just now. So yeah, there's him. There's another one from the under 17s who just went up to the academy as well. I think he'll do really well, but these are guys who were playing running back and D-line at youth and junior, and now we are saying, you know, put all the glory aside, come and play all line. I think that's a change that'll come. That's where we can start to use the Pride and the academy, and to an extent like these recruiting companies that are about. Because you look, I mean, like Europe's elite, Podium, all those guys. 90% of the players that they get through to NCAA are O linemen and D linemen.
Wow. Yeah, that's very true.
From across Europe.
That is very, very true.
Because the ones they get through are freaks. They're 6'8", 310 pounds at 17. Like there aren't that many people like that. So, the younger we can get them in and get them training at 11 on 11, the better I think we'd be, and get them used to playing offensive line. Make people understand that offensive line is the position to be at.
Is there any like impetus or plan for maybe reaching out in terms of scouting, in terms of not reaching out, but maybe having trial sessions in the London area to attract more players from the likes of the London Blitz, who are undoubtedly
however many times
best under 19 programs. But a lot of things we hear is that most of the players can't get down to the trials, or most of the players can't afford to play for GB. Is there any? I mean, do you have any vision in terms of diminishing that and making that less of an excuse for those that can't afford or can't get down to trials?
Like in money terms, we don't get. We're a zero-sum program. Okay. So we get nothing from BAFA really, but we like any money we get in, we'll put back into the program.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, the way it's worked before is like BAFA would give the teams money to subsidise tournaments. So like if you made the Euros or something like that, you've got that. But so my plan for this year, what we've started to do before COVID hit, was like we want to move practice about. So it's a national programme. Like we've got kids from Inverness. Obviously, I'm a bit partial to the Scottish kids coming in. So
Is it closer to home?
So yeah, like I want to keep them a bit involved. And then we've got kids from Cornwall as well. So so yeah, we've had Hertfordshire, Bristol, JMO more than we should have been at JMO, but it's very cheap and it's a really good pitch.
Okay.
And we had one planned in the northeast as well. So where we're at now is like I'm writing up a questionnaire now, like a review stage, to go out to the players, the parents, and the coaches.
Nice.
And said like, what did you think of this? Did this work? If they come back and say yeah, it worked, then we'll do it again next year.
Yeah.
If it didn't work, then we'll change. So we might move to like a single location, which might be like just south of Birmingham or something like that, which, you know, loads of easy travel links to get the train up over it. There's other options as well where you look at Coach Damon is on our staff. He done all the postcodes and stuff.
Okay.
So like 65% of our under-19s team is Birmingham and South.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whereas the under-17s is more 50-50.
Yeah.
So it's like, then what do? Do you have one set of rules for the under-19s, one set of rules for under-17s? So like, I don't think there's a right answer. What I'm willing to say is like, we're trying. You know, I'm willing to change to make it the best solution we can get for that year.
Yeah.
I don't want to hammer myself to a mast and go like, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I want to find the best solution we can get, and I think the best way to do that is to get the opinions of everyone who's involved in the programme.
Yeah.
You know, like, so you could potentially say like, we'll use the Academy's pitch and we'll use the Pride's pitch and one other.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, that would probably be quite a good solution. But if you're in Inverness, you ain't coming to that.
I'm going to put you in the deep end now. Coaches.
That wasn't the deep end?
No. Respectfully, coaches. There's not many black coaches within the under-19 programme. And for whatever reason, we don't know that. But is there anything that you want to do in terms of encouraging more black coaches to come? Because I can imagine if I was 16, 17, 18, I would like to see GB as a way I could reach out to maybe a role model. You know, you got some boys who grew up in London who don't have father figures. So football could be a way for them to find that father or role model which could keep them off the streets and keep them off the gangs and keep them off, etc. So it's important. I know some people might think, oh, it's just American football. We teach them, we coach them how to play, and then that's it. Well, with me, I see coaching is deeper than that. It's much deeper than that.
Should
so, so what you, in terms of that, what do you envision?
There's elements of who I am that I think most people would be able to get on board with. Like, I'm not from a particularly posh background. I'm not from a particularly well-off background. And I think the way I am has been developed through that. So I think there's a lot of things that I am that will come across to people of any colour, you know, no matter what. And I think the values I've got are worthwhile for everyone. It's something that I brought up last year with you. Not because he's black.
No, because he's black. No, because I was.
Because he was on this podcast, and it wasn't me that brought it up. It was a coach you guys all know called Scott Rowe. He mentioned it to me. So I was the last national programme coach who had to go through the open recruitment process. So like Jason now and Wayne with the students and whoever becomes the women's head coach, they'll be able to appoint their own staff. So they can just go out and be like, I want you. And I agree with that because you need to trust them, and you know there's a whole lot of things going with that.
100%.
I had to open it out to applications.
Why did you have to open it up to applications, by the way?
That was
just a rule.
That was the BAFA edict at the time. Was everything's open recruitment.
And that's the right way. That's the right way. It should be like that across the board.
But then that leads to your question, which is I put it out to open applications, and I I know a lot of coaches and I know a lot of really good coaches,
Yeah.
but I am very open to the fact that I don't know everyone. So like some of our best coaches, I would say, are guys who are like Tom Hammett from Yorks and Johns.
Yeah.
Like who would have heard of him? Generally speaking, but like he's come in and he's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Brilliant coach.
Like so, like I'm really open to that. We had 2, I think, applications of non-white people, for a better term, non-white people. One of which was Charles, who came on as a general assistant. Because he's still at the bottom of the
queue. He's hungry. He's hungry. Tenacious.
There you go.
And there was another kid who applied to be special teams coordinator but couldn't make it. Since then, we've brought on another. So Kev Kong, who's the DB's coach, is. I hope he's not listening. I think he's from Hong Kong descent. I don't know what you call people from Hong Kong, but like I think that's where his family's from. But he's English again. But like that's pretty much it. And it was something that like I was asking the question. Like I would almost put it back to you guys a little bit. Like you guys are black players. You've lived a life that I can't, possibly think of, in terms of like how you've been treated by people and stuff. Like, do you think? Obviously, you're in it, so it's maybe probably a bit better at you. But why did you want to become a GB coach?
For me, I think it was naturally the next step, and I think similar to what V was saying. I played a sport, and I played in teams where there haven't been many coaches of ethnic background. So I thought, why can't I be that guy to sort of buck that trend and like V said, be a mentor to some of the younger kids that want to go to where I've been plus more. So I think that was it for me, just being able to coach kids similar to myself, and not just similar to myself, but from any background, and just give them the opportunity or the right coaching techniques or the right understanding to know that, hold on, off the field, do you know what I mean? You can speak to me if you've got, or if you need any advice as to what to do in any walk of life, be it football or unfootball related, then like give me a chat. And there's a few blitz guys that play GB that will hit me up once in a while. They're from the academy, and that's what I do it for, because I know it's tough. I've told these guys before, when I first started playing American football, my mum was like, I don't want you playing this sport. And then I'm grateful that I have, because it's taken me to places that I never thought I would be. But I think off the back of that, there are people that are quite the opposite of me. If they're going to be people that have played the sport and they think, actually, hold on, there's no black or Asian coaches. Why would I do it? Do you know what I mean? I'm going to play. I'm going to be an athlete, and then that's that sort of thing. And not to say I understand it, but I can see their angle. I can see why there's some people that see it like that. So yeah, it's a tough one, and it's brilliant that you asked that, because I don't know why people wouldn't. Apart from that reason, I don't know why people wouldn't.
Can I use this then as like if you're like a player now who's nearing the end of their career-ish, and you want to move into coaching, like give me a shout. You can like come and visit our program, see what we do. There are general assistant spots. Not the best job in the world. A lot of it's picking up cones. A lot of it's doing what we ask. But the one thing we've said is that we'll give every GA who's on our staff one drill of practice.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's your like development opportunity. So then the positional coach becomes your assistant for that bit. So it's a little bit about how you treat them. You've got to be careful. But
I personally think the way you've done it is, in my opinion, brilliant, because you've done an open process, but at the same time, at the end of the day, your main positional guys are going to be your positional guys, the ones that you want in that position, and they're going to have assistants, and that's enough for a lot of people, because like you said, you've got the likes of Tom Hammett, James Wilford, Kevin Kong, myself. There are quite a few young coaches on the GB under 19s and under 17s roster that nobody would have ever heard of or given a chance to until you did. So first and foremost, props for that, and secondly, thank you, because I don't understand why other programs can't take note and do the same. I understand head coaches want to get their guys in. That's fine, get your guys in, but what's wrong with having a GA or an assistant that's going to be able to at least get their foot in the door and understand if this is for them or if it's not for them?
That's true.
There's a cross between like, I need my guys because I trust them, and I want to bring in new people to develop them. And it's finding that balance is really hard. So I think we are probably on the development side a little bit. Maybe a little bit too much. I mean, if you can be too much development, but like, I think in 2 or 3 years' time, you know, there's an obvious rotation in coaches because what we ask, what I think I ask of my coaches is quite a lot for a national programme, so there is a rotation. And what we've started doing already is like coaches are coming up, so like Kev wasn't the DB's coach to begin with. Kev started off as a GA, and we had to move James Wilford from DBs to D-line, so Kev moved up, and that was in discussion with James, with Scott Rowe, with Russ Hewitt, who's the DC, and like from what you've seen of this guy, is this guy good enough to step up and be a positional coach and lead it? And like I'm sure Kev won't mind me saying, like the only knock on him was he needs to be a bit more vocal with some of the mouthier DBs. Like, you know, you need to put them in place.
No, there are some DBs that are a bit like, I'm from the NFL Academy, I can do what I want.
But like I said, I think it's in a good way. Like there's a lot of them are like, they're used to a really high level and they want to challenge wide receivers. And if they're not getting it, they're going to stand there and call you out. I really want that. I really encourage that. Because you've got to get good reps, man.
100%.
But so there was that little cycle with Kev. We're going through it again with wide receivers and stuff. But yeah, like it's a constantly evolving situation. So if you're out there and you're thinking about coaching, like come along. Like you can come and visit. You know, there's no obligation to do anything. Just come and see what we're doing. You can be in all the meetings, all the staff meetings, everything. Just come and see, or you know, if it's something you're going to take seriously, then you know, hit me up and we can have a chat about like what our expectations are, what your expectations are, and you know, we can see if we can make it fit like a genuinely open program.
We're advocates here of constructive criticism. So take yourself outside of the GB setup. What would you say is the challenges that you face or continue to face? If you were an auditor or something, what would you do to kind of change the setup from an outsider perspective?
The dream is to have our own spot. Have like a little stadium that's BAFA owned,
powerful.
That's like even like baseball's got it, and I get making a baseball stadium's like nothing. But if you could have that, like just logistically, it makes things really easier. Because then you can keep all your equipment there. You can keep everything there. Like that's one of the struggles we've got. Is like, so I've got all our footballs, all our under-19s, under-17s football in my shed at the back. One of the parents has got our jerseys because they took them home and washed them. And like simple things like that. So like we make sure at under-19s we give every player the same jersey every practice. So on film we can see their number and we know who they are. And then when we send NCAA teams or the academy or the Pride film, we can say he's number 85, and they know. Like simple things like that just make life so much easier.
Exactly.
But you get to a point where, you know, you've got a DB wearing a 2XL jersey because he turned up 5 minutes, you know, before practice started, like and stuff like that. Because you've gave out
all the 80 numbers.
There's more tape on the jersey to keep it tight on the jersey at that point. But I think externally looking in, it's really easy to point fingers and go, "You're not doing this, you're not doing that." Like, and I do understand, believe me, that I don't think what we're doing is perfect. I think what we're doing is barely scraping good at this point. But we are doing the best we can.
That's it.
So I think like more money's good, obviously. I like, from my point of view, I'd love to be able to give my coaches expenses. Like as a minimum, I think that would be like a really good thing to do. I'd like to make camps free for players. And now our camps are only a tenner, and like I've vowed to parents that they will never be more than a tenner. So what that's done is, so we started September last year was our first one. From September to March, we've made 650 quid ish. So that 650 quid stays in our account, and then we make a little bit off every camp, and then once we get to a game, in theory we could pay that money out, so that it just comes straight off the top, and then you just divide the rest by everyone else. Or we can continue to save it and use it for a tournament when the cost will be significantly higher.
That's a good idea.
it also allows us to invest in kit. So like the previous regime didn't have footballs.
What?
Wow.
So I had to use Ouse Valley's footballs
Wow.
to come up, which
What?
meant the under 17s were using under 19s footballs.
Footballs, yeah.
Oh yeah, the different sizes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all good. They got little hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some of them do.
yeah, not all of
Like
them.
when
Not-
you at trials and stuff, yeah.
yeah.
At trials you get some proper little kids
Yeah.
who are like, I can't cope
Tiny.
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like we've moved on in that sense. So we spent about $1,000 buying equipment that we need, you know,
Yeah.
cones,
Yeah.
football, nets to carry the balls around in,
Yeah.
and a whole load of stuff. So yeah, we've started that, but it's been some money for that side of things would be good. I think I'm torn between moving location and having a single one.
Yeah.
I do think having a single location, Birmingham, Derby,
Yeah.
somewhere in
I
that
was
neck
about
of
to
the
say,
woods.
would
would
I
be
think-
like,
yeah.
I like that idea. I've never thought of it, but I think if Baffa had like a hub, like a stadium with a couple offices for the directors, Pete, and then somewhere where the men's team, the women's team, all the youth teams,
Everyone
could,
goes to.
students, yeah, everyone just goes to and has their camps. That would be out as
if
well.
you could have, like, it doesn't need to be huge. You
doesn't.
could legit make it out of porter cabins
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and knock them through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as a design idea, I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
nice as well.
yeah.
But like, you have 3 levels of porter cabins. Level 1's changing rooms and a gym,
Yeah.
so you can test some stuff. Level 2's offices, and then level 3's your video
Yeah.
stuff.
That would be brilliant.
Man.
Uh,
That-
As a
like,
startup.
yeah. Yeah.
You need, off the top of my head, 30 porter cabins, and a lot of companies will donate them and all. The
Really?
problem, yeah, because I looked into it for Ouse Valley. A lot of like Maersk shipping and all those guys have a program in place that they'll donate
Wow.
shipping cabins. You just need to be able to
Put them somewhere.
get
Yeah.
and sort them all out. But
That's quality.
yeah, so it's,
I might need one of those
uh,
to have like a man cave for myself. Yeah, no.
No,
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
Yes. Something else I was going to ask. There seems to be, like with the GB men's team, there seems to be a stigma that it's a step back for a lot of the players that are GB caliber and beyond, i.e. the ones playing in Europe or the ones that even play for the Baffa teams. And with what you just said about getting kids on the under 17 GB squad before they get to the academies, is that a thing that you see in the youth and junior programs as well?
100%.
Why do you think that
100%.
is?
To put it, like, if you're in their shoes, you've got a scholarship offer. Why would you come and work out? Like, you're working out the academy or the Pride every time. Like, you're getting high level of competition, high number of reps, and it's really good quality. You come to GB where, and I'm guessing at this point, 70% of the squad isn't in the Pride or the academy. Now that number might be a bit high, but let's use that. So the quality isn't as good because 70% of the kids aren't practicing 4 times a week. Like, you're going to risk injury. You're going to risk it not being as good because
Yeah.
it isn't as good. But the throwback I would use is look at all the players who play for England at rugby. Look at all the players who play for the British and Irish Lions at rugby.
Yeah.
Like, they don't get anything from that. Well, in fairness, they get a whole load of swag, which we don't get.
Some
but,
merch.
yeah, but like, that's basically it. Like, you're playing for pride. You're playing for the opportunity to play for your country.
Yeah.
And for a lot of kids in our country now, like, if you don't want to go to the Pride, or don't want to go to the academy, or you don't have the money to do either, so i.e. you don't live in Bristol or London, we're the only other opportunity for you to play 11-on-11 football and get some film together.
Yeah.
You know, like, and one of the things we preach, and you've probably heard me say this, like, our practices should be good quality film, good quality practices, because then you can use practice film to get offers.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because that's what the academy's
Yeah.
doing. Like, the academy's never played a game,
Yeah.
but their practices are of such a quality
That,
the colleges will look at it and be like, yeah, actually, I can see this
Yeah.
working out, and I'll take. They're still taking a bit of a flyer on them, but not so much.
Yeah.
So for kids who aren't, aren't in the Pride of the Academy, this is like GB's your opportunity to get 11-on-11 film.
Yeah.
So how would you change the culture currently in Britball to make it so it isn't a step back? Because obviously in no other sport, I don't think in any other sport is representing your country a step back. So how do we change that?
Step back in terms of quality, in terms of money, like in terms of
that's in terms of the stigma. There is a step
Right.
back. Like,
I don't think Well, I am legit to try to change the culture, but it's slow. Like,
I can imagine. Yeah.
and there isn't a ton of help. Admittedly, I haven't asked for a ton of help either, but like, we are trying to be a lot more open with what we're doing. We've last summer, 2019, I think, we actually sent coaches out to programs to scout them. And this year, one of the we were meant to be, so we don't practice between. We will have a game in May because of the bank holidays and stuff. So we will probably always have a game in May.
Yeah.
June, July, August, we at the moment don't practice because our job is to go out and scout.
Yeah.
So I want to get to a point in 3-4 years where we don't have trials. We're just continually out there. Each coach has their own little bit to go and scout, their own teams. They keep up the connections, the players. You go and see them at practices, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think in a year or two, you'll start to see a big culture change in that sense, that people will be like, actually, it's not this really niche outside program. It is representative.
Yeah.
That's what GB is. Like, it represents Great Britain.
Yeah.
And if you want to represent people, you've got to know them.
Does it?
Yeah.
So it's tough. It puts a ton on the coaches, and this goes back to the point I made to you earlier. Like, there's a high turnaround in coaching staff because people do it for a year or two and then realise like
it's too much.
It's a lot of money because you're spending a lot on fuel travelling about looking at people. It's the invisible work that makes it all happen. So you don't get any credit for it. You don't get any real enjoyment out of it, probably. With the exception of maybe me and Scott Rowe. We seem to be the only people who actually enjoy scouting and backroom stuff. But,
Scott loves it.
I'm saying that me and him have had some proper conversations about how you evaluate people and what we're doing. But like, it's really tough to get that, and there is a number of staff in the UK that can actually do it.
I think if I was Buffer and I wanted to work around that, how about like doing it virtually? So when we do start, if we do start another late season, another Britball season, stuff like asking for tape and getting teams to encourage teams to produce good tape and invest in good game tape and practice tape. And then if, for example, Solanke asks for tape of a particular game or something, he can now see if there's any standout players that he could potentially offer to scout. Yeah. So, I mean, there's impetus to kind of work around that, but how easy would that be in terms of funding and getting teams to buy into that, because that's expensive as well.
It's for you to have a setup that we could work off. You need a bike stand, a pole, and a camera, like a GoPro. That get the extendable painter's pole that goes up to 8 meters. And you can record it off your phone on the ground. That would be enough.
And that's the stand. That should be the standard. Every team should have good tape.
I'm trying to get GB to upgrade, so I want us to spend $3,000 on a system that is it's 2 cameras that one operator can control via, I can't remember if it's an iPad or an actual controller, but something like that, and he can control both cameras.
Wow.
Right.
So you can set them up from house spot and record them. So
what's it called? Vivo, is it?
Don't know.
Might be. Okay.
Don't know. It was a rugby system.
I think it might be.
Yeah, it might be that. Yeah.
But it was something that I looked out and sent to Mike Callan and said, look, this is something I would like us to do, because it's $3,000 one off. And if you don't explain this to people will jump down your throat a bit. Why are you spending $3,000 on a camera set? Especially for us, the value we would get and our players would get out of having that quality film would be huge. Just in terms of being a tape that they can send off to people and all that. Plus then the men's team can use it, the women's team can use it, the flag team can use it. We can take it to away games where they probably don't have as good a setup. Some do. But like Holland we only got wide film. And then I was chatting to Ben Herod at the Pride and he said he had their tight film. So Ben sent me the tight film. They didn't even send it to us.
Wow.
Mad.
So there's and that was the last regime. But it was. So there's stuff like that. I think it would just be a massively worthwhile purchase. Probably not in the current situation. They've just got a 90k grant to keep the doors open. So I don't think now's the right time for it. But when everything's up and running again, that's where I'd like to get to. invest in it a little bit and start growing it slowly.
I mean, there's lots of avenues like crowdfunding. I'm sure I'd put a tenner towards. I mean, or $5 towards, or to if the GB setup wanted to, buy a film to improve the program 5-10 years down the line.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd put £50 or £10 to that as a charitable donation towards a good cause.
I don't think I'm with you. I'm just a bit sketchy on it because I don't think relationship wise and where we're at as a program, people want to invest just yet. And that's the thing we need. Give me another year, give me another 18 months where we can get the scouting stuff done. Yeah. Because that's going to be the number one thing. That's going to build the relationships with teams. Get us practicing. Let us play a couple of games. Let us win a couple of games. And let people see that what we're doing is working.
That's it.
Because the big thing in my interview was learning from my mistakes. My offense the last time round about was I was like, I know what will get these kids prepared for the NCAA. We'll give them an NCAA playbook. Yeah.
Nice. And
then was shocked when they couldn't run it. and then spent 12 months trying to work it back. Yeah. Whereas now we've come in and I set some ground rules down with Morgan and with Russ and said, this is your limits. This is what you can do. Yeah. Go and build playbooks around about this. And the two of them have been really clever and really smart with what they're doing. And I think we'll compete at the level we should be competing at. Yeah. Within again the next 12 to 18 months. Yeah. If we don't make the next Euros, I would be fairly disappointed. If we can keep the academy and the Pride players in the GB squad.
100%.
If we lose them, I think we'll struggle.
Yeah. And that will create such a buzz. Yeah, because that's grassroots. That says a lot. That makes a statement.
Yeah, it's going to create a problem as well. Because going to a tournament's that's cash notes, man.
100%. Yeah.
That's from memory, 10 days away. So you're you've got to imagine if you were going to the last one was in Italy. Yeah. For 10 days, you're probably spending $1,500 minimum to go on that holiday for 10 days. Man. Well, all your food, all your and I'm not even talking football. You think about going on a holiday. I mean, you guys went to Budapest. Yeah. That was super cheap.
Yeah, exactly
and
that.
you still probably spent $500.
Spent quite a bit.
Between flights and taxis and those
food and
scooters.
Yeah.
and
spa day as well.
It was, and other activities. So there's it's not cheap. Which is why I kind of want to keep.
Yeah.
Let's make a little bit of money every practice, and then we can give it all back and take it off the top when we need to.
How important is it to have the likes of Russ on your staff? Someone that's part of NFR.
Him, Damon, and Scott. Are massive for our program. Because they are the experienced guys. Like you said earlier, and you guys alluded, we are young, we're hungry as a coaching staff. That's where we want to be. But I'm smart enough to know I'm not the smartest person in the room, and that there are people out there who are way more successful and way more experienced than I am. Let's bring them in. I've always found, I used to work with a guy at Ouse Valley called Nick Tilbury. You guys will know from Budapest as well.
Yeah.
He's a really good guy just to have next to me and say kind of rein in a little bit, you're going too far. And I like to have those types of people, and that's what they are. They're really good just to be look, you're going along the right lines, don't worry about it, or nah, you're pushing this too much, now stop. And then having those links with, having Russ with the academy, and we did have Dan with the Pride, but Dan's got the Pride UA and us, so he's
that is too many places.
And a life.
That is a lot.
He's just went back to the Pride in UA, but I've got a really good relationship with Ben.
Okay.
So does our staff. So we've not had a problem, and we've been really open with them about, working with them both and trying to be.
That's good, because I think it's important to have a presence at both.
It doesn't take a genius to figure out that most of our players, if both those programs were free, most of our players would come from it, because they're the only teams that practice 3-4 times a week. That makes sense. By definition, the best players will be there. They might not be the best players in the country on talent level, but they'll be the best players because they play practice.
Best footballers. What are your thoughts on GB students? I for one was a little bit surprised that, I guess maybe it's because you've already got 2 programs that you manage, but I thought I was surprised that it didn't semi come under you, or it wasn't like.
Nah, it's always been separate. Man. I think it should be separate.
Okay.
As well. Students are a very different thing to work with. Like I think Wayne does a pretty awesome job with that, and you like just even the group of staff and players they had when they went over to it was either Sweden or Finland. I can't remember. I think it might be Sweden.
Sweden, I think.
When they went and played there, like they still talk about that trip.
Oh, wow.
Like the culture they guys had developed.
Yeah.
Was just insane. Like, and people still talk about it.
Okay.
And I was chatting with some of the BAFCA clinics this year.
Yeah.
Like we filmed them before, and Wayne invited me and Harry, who's the OC for the students team, on, and we were like chatting away about things, and like they're going a very different route than we're doing.
Okay.
But it's still good to have those chats and have that liaison. Like, just there. I think it should be different. I think it should be separate.
That's fair enough and understandable.
There's a kind of argument to be made that the under 17 should be separate and all.
Wow.
Kind of.
Yeah, like I think 2021 we'll probably move to have them having a separate OC and DC.
Okay.
So we've already moved to the OC. I haven't told you. This could be like an exclusive. Even the GB coaching staff don't know. Jason Shaw, the under 17s running backs coach.
Yeah.
He's now the under 17s OC.
Okay.
So he'll run the same playbook.
Yeah.
But it's because Morgan can't do both days.
Both. Okay. That makes sense.
Because it's just a fortune in hotels and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, and I think it makes the most sense. And he's another one, like, he's the most committed guy in the programme by a country mile. Yeah. So give that guy the reward that he's deserved and say, we'll give you this opportunity to come and call plays.
Yeah.
God, I want to get an under 17s game.
I know.
Wow.
I could feel it.
You can sense it.
I know.
You can definitely
so
sense
under
it.
17, sorry, that's 11 aside as well. Or is that,
so
okay. So that's their only. Yeah. So they're really.
They're up for it as well.
Wow. Yeah, I bet they are.
Like it's another one. Like the wide receivers and DBs and the QBs there as well. Are ridiculously talented, but the O line and D linemen just look lost. Because like, why is there people standing next to me? Like this. Why? Like if you move them to tackle, like I don't have a ball now. Like what am I
What do I do? Yeah.
So we spend like the morning reteaching them like this is a stance. This is what you do. And then the afternoon you get them to practice again. So, but yeah, there's opportunities out there. There's big level stuff that me and Mike have discussed, like the Scandinavian countries have got their own tournament.
Okay.
Wow.
So Sweden, Finland, Norway, Denmark all play each other every year.
Oh wow.
Under 19s and under 17s.
Wow.
It's like if I could get
a team ready.
us, France,
Belgium.
Ireland and Belgium. Yeah.
It's not bad at all.
You know, like France had hoses. You know, to begin with, but you know, over the couple of years, you would hope that would be like your marker post to try and get closer and closer and closer. So you know, like, but they're big ticket items. They're not, and there's not a ton of us working on this stuff. You know, like if I want to get a questionnaire out to the parents, I need to create a questionnaire. If I want to book a practice venue, I need to go and book a practice venue. Like, it's not like there's no one else. There's me and the coaching staff. That's it.
Man.
Yeah. Couple years down the line, GB Adults comes calling. What are you saying?
Nah.
Oof.
Nah.
That's quick.
It's just not my like. Youth is very much my bag.
Yeah.
Very much the thing I want to do. It's the thing I want to be really good at.
Yeah.
And it's the thing I think where my type of personality, like the way I talk, is that I think it just works better with them. Adults, I don't really. Adults would be cool from a prestige point of view, but at that point I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah,
that's true.
And there's always a little bit of like, I'm a GB head coach. Like, you do smile a little
bit. I am.
It's cool. Exactly. It's a cool thing.
Do you put on your work emails as well?
Sign at the bottom.
At the bottom.
I'm trying to create. If I can get some creative on board, I'm trying to get an email footer for my BAFA. It's me. But so there is always an element that's for you, but like genuinely with the junior stuff, I see it as being like, let's change the way we do youth football in the UK. Let's make it better. You know, kind of the way Jim done the women's stuff. Like the whole of BAFA women's football was set up to help GB. I think there's an element of bits we can take from that would help us.
We've had this like sort of debate before, just sort of moving to a different subject, about sort of that age range, youth, junior and younger. pads or no pads, flag or contact.
If you can do it safely, do it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's more on the coaches. You've got to be able to coach it safely and prove you can coach it safely.
That's right.
There is no stigma for me with playing flag. Like, I think it's an awesome way to go. And like, if we're honest, the only way American football is going to get into the Olympics is flag.
That's right.
Word.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me there isn't a coach in this country who wouldn't want to get the rings tattooed on them for coaching American football?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
I would move to
100%.
flag. I
Tomorrow.
would move to flag
Yesterday.
football tomorrow if it meant I had a shot against no
100%.
doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
100%. I think anyone would.
So like there's no, and I think if you have a stigma about flag football, you're way behind the times because it is going to be.
It's going to be massive for us, I think.
Yeah.
It's going to be the future in elements of the sport.
Yeah.
Certainly Olympic wise and that. I think that's going to be the way. In the same way that sevens rugby was for rugby. Like so yeah, like, I fully encourage everyone to start at flag. So kind of what Coach Andy was saying the last time, like I think it's a great way to start. Fundamentals.
Yeah.
But the fundamentals for most things in flag are the same fundamentals as for a lot of things in contact.
Yeah.
You know, like how you stand, how you start, how you drop, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's just about the big guys, the big skill position guys. Like, how do we fix them?
Yeah.
But I don't like. Everyone's seen that American show, the Little Tykes or something like that, about the horrific coaching these 10-year-old kids get on stage.
Oh yes.
No one's looking for that. Like when I say like 10-year-old kids could play in pads. Not with those coaches. Like, so I think it's possible. I think if you could do it, but there's certainly no pressure on them.
Make it fun.
Cool. It has to be fun. Like that was the really good thing that Andy said yesterday. Like he's way ahead of me in this stuff. Like it should be way more fun than it is. Like I'm pretty serious. You know the ins and outs of 2 and 3 jet pass protection really excite me. I get that most people aren't that in it.
I guess last few topics before we let you go. Before you took on your role as GB head coach, you were involved in setting up a team to go abroad and play European fixtures, which in my opinion was probably the closest thing players got to representing their country abroad. How did that come along, and
it was
how does that work?
So there's a website called American Football International.
Yeah.
And they put out an advert for, there's a team in Iceland, the Reykjavik Einherjar, and they wanted teams to go and play them. Okay. And I said to the boys at Us Valley, like, this would be a really cool thing to do. Yeah. Iceland's always a place I've wanted to go. Like, let's try and do it. And, you know, the same with everything, Britball, like, you know, 80 people signed up from Us Valley straight away. We only had a squad of 40, but we had 80 players. Yeah. And then the closer it gets to actually paying some money, it dwindled down to about 25. So that's when we went out to double coverage, and like it started like really naively. It was just let's help them. They need games. Yeah. You know, let's go and help them play a game and see how it goes. Like that was literally it. At that point, they hadn't played 11-on-11 football.
With the team in Iceland.
Yeah, they just played 8-on-8. Wow. So we like it was just proper naive. Let's just go and help. Yeah. And that was when I started to get into the world of BAFA insurance, what it covers you for, what it doesn't cover you for, and a lot of the political aspects. And it went really quickly. It was like Martin Cockrell, I emailed him to ask, does BAFA insurance cover players for going to this? Yeah. He replied no, because Iceland isn't in IFA.
Okay.
And then we just immediately said, well, players get your own
insurance.
And it's done on a trust thing. Yeah. Even now, like, there's no coaches insurance.
Oh, okay.
Like, so it's a proper trust thing, and I think that's the thing that people don't really realise about the herd. Like, you need to be asked to be on it.
Okay.
So you get like if you apply, he needs to nominate you.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
If he nominates you and you turn up, and again, like I'm not in it now, so this is up to my beautiful wife and. You know, there's various other people who are involved doing it.
Like a big team now.
If he nominates you and you turn up and you're either not very good,
can't have a laugh,
rubbish pants, aren't very good on a night out, then both of you are off next year.
Oh wow,
there's a lot of pressure.
So they're like, people get all of a sudden you see all these invites coming through. People are like, yeah, he'll nominate me, and then I go and speak to that guy, or like Kate will speak to that guy, and that guy's like, nah. So like,
he's nominated me, and this my party partner. This guy, we've been to the city boys. No, you have to have a good time, man.
Honestly.
So that's what it's about. Like, and the thing is, like, so Mike Ireland's been really big on making it bigger.
Yeah.
And while I was involved in it, I was like, nah, let's keep it simple.
Yeah.
It should be one game a year, one practice.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point in it is it's to be anti-politics, like, it's just about football, it's just about having fun.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole point in it.
Yeah.
Like, we want to win.
Yeah.
And that was kind of one of the things we were quite big on. Like, they're 3-0, they're lost, but it's because it's just fun.
Yeah.
Like,
the weirdest thing.
Rules. Like, no one manages it either. Like, the players manage their own reps.
Yeah.
So I remember in Iceland, like, Dwayne Watson played.
Yeah.
He was running back, and one of the Ouse Valley running backs was there as well. A guy called Jamie. Like, not even close. Like 5'6", 10 stone if he's lucky, right?
Yeah.
And Dwayne's telling him to go on, like it's your reps.
Wow. I love that, man.
And they're like, and it's just I don't know. It's really hard to describe, but it's purely done on trust.
Yeah.
You know, this kid broke his collarbone in Iceland, and then just came out the same night drinking, and then flew home the next day, and then got it seen to.
Well, what a hero!
What a lad! What a lad!
That's what we like to see.
That's
what we're here for.
Sam Busher from Sandwell.
Oh yeah, he was even back last year.
Collarbone that's made out of dust at this point.
Man. I was gonna say the weirdest thing about it is exactly everything you said. Like, I went for the first time last year to Budapest, and it was so crazy. You're out there, literally having fun for the first couple of days, and then game day comes on, and it's like everyone's serious now. And it's like, hold on, we were just at the club last night, and everyone's like, no, but we have to win this. I was like, okay, cool, time to put my football head on, and then you play for what, 60 odd minutes, 90 minutes, and then literally at the end of it, everyone's got a bottle of spirits and sharing out. It's like, man, this is
the pitch.
This is literally
whistle
had
barely gone.
Yeah, whistle literally barely gone, and everyone's ready and thinking, you know what, this is the life, man. Like, this is quality. This is literally what you call football and fun. We go out there, had fun, game day, done our business, and literally, like Tinker said, literally, the whistle was on the referee's lips, and everyone's like opening like drinks, and there was hot dogs, and it was absolutely quality, man.
It's kind of opened my eyes a little as to like how well run other countries' teams are. So like when we went to Magaluf, just how well run they were. Like they had people there videoing it, they had DJs and stuff set up. They had quite a big crowd. Like the Iceland one was insane. There was like 4,500 people in that game.
Wow.
Like like it was a huge big. It was their national indoor stadium we played at, like a proper football pitch that they'd done up. Now there's some elements of it like were like sketchy. So the pitch was laid out with masking tape.
Oh wow!
The rest were wearing Juventus football tops.
Oh my gosh!
There was an English ref came over, and he got some abuse, by the way.
Did he?
Like from other referees.
Oh wow!
Like it was just insane the amount of abuse this poor guy got.
Why is that?
In fairness, I get where they were coming from. They were just like, "You're not covered to do this. Don't take the risk. All of this stuff is stupid." And he was like, I just want to go on a holiday and there's some football going on. And he spent more time helping those referees than he did actually reffing the game. But the game took like 4 hours because their refs were horrible. But since then, they're way better because a guy called Albert took the time to teach them, this is what you're doing. And that's what it was. It was just about going and helping people. Yeah.
Another thing is you meet so many ballers and coaches from like different walks and areas of life that you would have, like we're still in a group chat with some of the guys from her, and some of them are one hilarious, and two I've made friends that are probably gonna be like mates for a long time, man.
Definitely,
and I would have
video you guys done when you walked into the Irish boys' room.
Oh yeah.
Every time. So when Ben Logan's there, he's South Dublin Panther, and you're like, yeah, man, what's up? And he talks in this Irish accent, and he goes like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, literally. What was that? But yeah, it's like you meet these guys, and it's like I would have never met you if I didn't come on this trip. So it's crazy.
One of my favourite things was like before the game when everyone's like around that chessboard, that giant chessboard, and you can see everyone's got their Herd jerseys on and all the different helmets from teams like I'd never even heard of in Ireland and all these places, and just meeting them and talk about the level of football out there and just learning more and making those connections, man. It's just it's what's been lacking in Britball.
100%.
You know, for my whole career, if you will.
It's just a cool thing. If there's a way we could make it work that's a bit safer, like in terms of coaches' insurance, players' insurance and stuff, I think it would be good to do that. But at the moment, it's like if you want to play, you take the risk.
Yeah.
You know, you get your own insurance. Yeah. In fairness, I would argue you should have your own insurance.
Anyway,
for coaches, it starts to get really sketchy. Yeah. So the kind of workaround we use is like we're not actually coaching you to do anything. Yeah. So that's another reason for the veto system getting in. Like you need to know you can play.
Yeah. I completely agree.
But yeah, I think it's just a really cool thing for British American football.
It was like our Pro Bowl, man. Seeing all the helmets lined up there and different flags. We had a Jamaican
really cool
flag out there.
Actually, like when everyone was lined up and all the helmets at the bottom. I really like that.
Yeah, I like that. Anyways, thank you very much again for joining us. I really enjoyed that episode. It was only meant to be half an hour. It ended up being an hour or so. No, it's fine, man. It's fun. We love them like that. We love them like that. If you haven't already, please do follow us on all socials and on YouTube. That's at X's and O's team. And we'll probably put Neale's information about himself and the GB national teams in the description as well, so you can hit them up as well. But for now, peace out.